Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I have 6 new Halloween Dollar Tree DIYs for you. And these are all going to be like large statement pieces for Halloween that are going to be great for party or decor. So for the first one, it's really easy. I found this great tray at Dollar Tree. Now it says it's glow in the dark, but it reminds me of a moon because of course it's round and it's got bats all over it. So this project is so simple. All I'm going to do is I flipped it over and I am just using some ivory. I think this is antique parchment, acrylic, and one of my stencil daubers from Dollar Tree. I love these, and especially for a moon because I get this weird mottled pattern by going over it with a coat of paint. I don't want to get full coverage, but I want most of it to be ivory to give me that moon background. Now, the tray originally was glow in the dark. I'm not sure exactly if it's still glow in the dark after the changes I made to it. I'm going to have to test it out. I do another glow in the dark project today, though, that does work. And so this is what it looks like with just the coat of ivory behind it. But of course, the moon is going to have like craters, like some darker spots. So I switch it up. This is Beachcomber's Beige, I believe. And I am doing the same thing, just kind of trying to find the areas that I didn't have any of the ivory paint and just put some craters on there to give a little bit different colors, but very subtle, like the moon looks. And then I decided I wanted a little gray too. I didn't have any, so I just simply mixed a little bit of black and white together. And I'm just going to give a few gray craters too, just to provide a few little darker spots. And I think that's looking really good so far. I'm going to give it a quick dry, and then I'm also going to DIY the other side to make it look better. Now, as you can see, it's super shiny right now. You can really tell it is plastic, makes it look like, a food tray, which is what it is. So I go over the entire thing with some matte finish Mod Podge. I get those little bottles of Mod Podge from the Dollar Tree. It's a great deal because you don't have to worry about them drying up. They're a nice, perfect size for crafting. And then I just go all over again with just a stencil dauber and try to get that matte finish that I'm looking for my moon. Now I'm going to make this as a sign that I just lean up against something on a table, but you could totally hang it. I think hanging it with like command adhesive strip or something like that would be really great, but this would be great for a party. You could even use this for an outdoor decoration. I think it would hold up well outside. But this is how it turned out. My little bats on a spooky moon for Halloween. I told you that this one was going to be easy, and check this out. Doesn't that look cool? I'm so glad I visited the Dollar Tree yesterday because I saw these and I was like, moon. Oh, this would make a perfect moon. And I was really impressed that my store had a ton of Halloween, fall, and Christmas. Hey guys, if you're enjoying today's video, be sure to hit that like button. It always helps. Okay, for the next DIY, this one's going to be a really large life-size Halloween decoration. We're going to start out with a laundry basket from the Dollar Tree. It doesn't matter which color you get. This is going to be the base for like a skeleton reaper. I'm also going to be using a Dollar Tree paper towel holder. So what I want this to be the base to hold up a broomstick to make my skeleton body. It's going to be like, probably about 5 feet tall in the end. It's pretty large. And the thing that I'm going to do to attach this is just use zip ties. So I picked up some zip ties from Dollar Tree and I start with 4. So I thought 4 would be plenty, but after constructing it, I had to go back and add more. So I'm going to be making another life-size project today and you'll be able to see exactly how many I added. But basically, see how I have the different slots? I did 4, 1 in each corner to start with, but then I had to go back. And on the back of the skeleton reaper, I had to do a zip tie in every single slot. So keep that in mind. You're going to need it to be attached strongly because the laundry basket's not that heavy. I needed a little bit more reinforcement there in the back to hold my skeleton reaper up. And so I started with 4, but definitely added to it. So this is what it looks like at this point. And we're going to start putting this together. I picked up a Dollar Tree broomstick, and I'm going to attach that to the paper towel holder. You're going to want to attach it with duct tape, is what I picked up from the Dollar Tree. Now, again, I had some stability issues on this one, so I did go back and cut a hole right there where the broomstick comes in and put the little screw part down into it to make it more stable. But then I had to re-duct tape it. So this was me originally putting it together with 3 pieces of duct tape. I was inspired to make this based on a TikTok that I saw. And of course, TikToks are very short. They make it look really easy, but then of course, it didn't really work that well logistically. So I had to go back and make some tweaks. Now for the mask, I picked up one of these from the Dollar Tree. I was lucky enough to find a white hooded mask. I noticed these come in different colors. It doesn't really matter because I'm actually going to paint mine anyway. I like the fact that it's distressed and stuff like that. I am going to paint it though to match the skeleton hands that I picked up from Dollar Tree. I noticed there was a little elastic strap in there, which really didn't serve me any purpose. The hood definitely does, but not the strap. So I just removed that carefully. And I want to try to match the skeleton hand. So I picked up 2 skeleton hands from Dollar Tree. I like the finish of these better than the ones that are really glossy and like tannish. But you can always paint them if that's the only ones that you can find. And I'm going to try to match that color. So I mix a little antique parchment and some beachcomber beige together to give me a great bone color. And I'm just going to go over the skeleton. I like the fact that it was distressed, but again, I need the skull and the hands to match a little bit, right? So I'm just kind of dragging this all over with a sponge dauber. That way I get a very thin coat. You can still see the distressing kind of coming through it. I did struggle a little bit trying to keep it off of the hood on this project, so I did have to do a little touch up. Just be careful around the edges if you paint yours. I did go in with a smaller brush to try to get closer to the edge. It did help me, but I don't mind like a little bit of the black showing through, like especially around the teeth area and stuff like that. And again, this is just a mask that you would wear for Halloween. And so logistically, I'm trying to make it into like a craft project. Now, one thing I did notice is when I put this on my project, the back of his head is flat, you know, because there's nothing really there to fill it out. I'm thinking that closer to Halloween, I will like pop a black balloon or something in there to make the back of his head look good too. Because right now he's kind of got a flat head at the moment. But I think that would be an easy way to fix it. Because you're going to be able to see through the eye holes and the nose holes. You want something black in there. So that's why I'm thinking a black balloon would be good. But I got that all painted and touched up. I think the hands are perfect and ready to go. I do want to make arms for my little skeleton reaper. I keep forgetting that word, reaper. And so I'm going to attach it to a fun noodle. I'm also going to decorate him with some of the Dollar Tree chains. This one is the glow in the dark one, which is cool. But I do want it to look a little bit metallic, so I'm going to paint that one too. I thought he could hold it or I could put it around his neck, something fun. And so I'm just going to slightly distress this one because if this does still glow in the dark, I think that would be cool. So I just take some silver metallic paint. I've been noticing Dollar Tree getting a lot of metallics in, so you can probably find this at Dollar Tree too. I'm really impressed with their new paints. As you'll see, I even do a glow in the dark paint from Dollar Tree today in one of the projects. But I am just going all over with that silver metallic and just slightly distressing it, letting that glow in the dark come through, but giving it a little bit more of a chain vibe with that. I picked up this silver metallic paint at Dollar General, so that can be a good source for it too. And as you can see, I'm just barely distressing it. So like half of the white glow in the dark comes through and half of it has just like a little bit of metallic feel. And this was just personal preference. They do, I think sometimes have this in more of a metal look, but I couldn't find it in any of my Dollar Trees. So I picked up the glow in the dark one. But I think the chain is definitely going to go with a skeleton like Reaper feel. And again, I think the hands are perfect. I don't have to do anything to them. To attach them to the fun noodle, I'm going to use zip ties. I thought I'm going to need probably 2 per hand, and the plastic on these from Dollar Tree is pretty thin. So to poke holes in it, I'm just using one of those tiny screwdrivers and just pushing it through. And I kind of shake it back and forth a little bit to give me more of a horizontal cut because the zip ties are that shape. So it'll be easier for me to put these through. So I poked 2, so like the hands will be steady. I don't want them like flopping around. And I just simply put the zip tie through like that, making sure I get it going the right direction so it will work. And then for the other one, I reverse direction. That way I can have one going one way and one going the other way. So we're going to do the same thing here with the other skeleton hand. For the arms for the skeleton, I'm using a Dollar Tree fun noodle. On the TikTok that I watched, they cut the fun noodle in half and attached it with zip ties. I'm going to try a different approach, which I think will work a little bit better and kind of give my skeleton reaper a little bit more of a back to go with his like shoulders in the final project. So again, I put one going one direction and one the other. This is the pool noodle that I got. It's white, doesn't matter. If you could get a black one, that would be great, but you're not going to be able to see it, so it doesn't really matter. Now, this is so easy to poke a hole into. I just use a screwdriver, poke a hole in my pool noodle, and then I'm going to pull it through and zip tie that. I'm glad I decided to do 2 because I was able to get it on there just right. Now, I think sometimes Dollar Tree has the skeletons that have the wrist attached. And if you're able to find that, you could just slide that down inside the pool noodle. I wasn't able to find those, and I think they might be a little bit smaller. And I definitely wanted my hands to be rather large to go with the large scale of the project and for the skull mask there that you see. So I just zip tie those, cut off the excess strip, and it's still attached. So here is the other end of my foam noodle, and I'm going to do the same thing. I just kind of try to figure out where I should poke a hole. Kind of hard to see where you poke a hole on that. You kind of have to feel around for it. And zip tie this one on. What I'm going to use for the shoulders of the skeleton reaper is a Dollar Tree hanger. It's going to give that perfect shoulder shape. And I'm also going to be able to attach this pool noodle to that to attach the arms to the project. I want them sticking out like he's either trying to hug you or get you for Halloween. So I do end up duct taping this to the hanger to make it a little bit more stable. But this is what it looks like so far, our little skeleton arms. And Dollar Tree also has hangers if you don't have any extra hanging around. So I picked up some black ones. I think you get 7 there for $1.25. And all I'm going to do is simply put it through the hanger like this, where the arms will stick out each side. Now, friction does kind of keep it in place, but I want mine to be stand up and not like tilt down at all. I'm going to do another life-size project today where I do have it tilt down a little bit, so that's a little bit different in the projects. Since I want this one to stay up, I'm going to use some Dollar Tree duct tape, and I'm going to just duct tape that in place. I'm just making sure that my arms are the same length. I have it in there exactly where I want. You can kind of see how much back I want this project to have by how far I stuck it through the hanger. So I just cut off a piece of duct tape. I also picked up the duct tape at Dollar Tree from the hardware aisle, and I'm just going to kind of duct tape this in place. I use a lot of duct tape on this project just to try to make it a little bit stronger. I would love to use these projects outdoors, at least for Halloween night. They're not super stable unless you weigh the bottom down a lot to be outside. So I'll probably only put them outside for like maybe one night. But if you wanted yours to be outdoor decor, you could just try to find something to weigh down the laundry basket at the bottom, and I think that would totally work for you. This is more for an indoor decoration or for a party, I guess. So what I did was I slid it down to about the sticker, the barcode there on my broom handle, and I duct taped the little hanger to the broomstick. I kind of forgot to record that part, but that is how I put that part together. Now for the cloak of our little skeleton reaper, I'm using a Dollar Tree black tablecloth, just a plain black plastic tablecloth. I kind of find the very center of it, poke a hole in there with my fingers, and I'm just going to simply put that over the top of my broomstick, making that come over the skeleton arms. And so long ways coming from behind to towards you. That way it's long enough for the front and the back. It's a perfect length. This is what it looks like right now with the little skeleton hands peeking out at the sides. As you can see, this is a really large project. Then I went in with some duct tape and I just kind of doubled it up and taped the sides. I did that about 3 or 4 times all the way down to the bottom so that the sides of the cloak are not open, and it kind of keeps everything together. I'm not going to cinch mine or anything with the waist, but I thought it would look even better if I covered it with some of the Dollar Tree creepy cloth. I was actually able to find it in black this time at my Dollar Tree. Usually I can only find gray. I think gray would look good too, but since that tablecloth looks cheap, I mean, look at it. I think that if we put this creepy cloth over it, I'm going to use a total of 2. We can make it look a little bit better. So I find that middle part and I just put that over the broomstick and I drape it like that down both of my little skeleton arms. Super creepy, but then I thought I needed another. So here is another creepy cloth. And for this one, I want it to be longer in the front because I want it to go all the way to the ground. I kind of find how that would be and kind of just put it over the broomstick as well, draping that around, kind of overlapping what I did to the arms. So this is what our little skeleton reaper is looking like so far. Let's go ahead and pop on his head. This is a part that I said that would be great if you put a black balloon in there maybe, just so the back of his head is not flat. But it looks great from the front. And there it is. So now we can add his chain. I decided since mine was needed a little bit more stability to hang mine around my skeleton reaper's neck like this. And again, I did make those changes by poking the hole in the laundry basket and adding more zip ties to make him a little bit stronger so that he does not tip over. Here is a view of our little skeleton. I love him. He's super creepy. My husband got a kick out of him. My son is visiting from college this weekend to see hurricane damage, and I think he's really going to love these. Here's a little bit closer view of his torso and the skeleton face. I'm so glad I decided to paint him. I think he looks a little bit better this way. But a creepy skeleton reaper to greet your trick-or-treaters. I think this one turned out really fun. I had so much fun DIYing this. Now for the next DIY, this is going to be really easy. I picked up a Dollar Tree chair cover of a skeleton ribcage. And since it's made out of this great plasticky material, I thought this would be great for an outdoor pillow for my bench next to my front door for Halloween. As you can see, it's really large, which is what we're going for, impact pieces on today's projects. So I just take an old bed pillow. I had about 2/3 of an old bed pillow left over because this one is so large, it's going to take quite a bit of polyfill. But they also sell polyfill at the Dollar Tree now, but it would take several packages of it for sure. And I love doing this with old pillows. I never throw them away. I always save them for their polyfill. And I just start filling it up until it gets nice and full. It's not going to be super firm, kind of more of a decorative pillow, but I do want it to be a little bit soft. And I just love this material for doing this. As you can see, it's open at the bottom, so it's just perfect for a pillow. All I have to do is close that to have a no-sew pillow. That's when I realized kind of how big this was. So adding more polyfill to make it look like a pillow. And then I just simply take some hot glue. I did half of it at a time. I put hot glue there on the seam and just push it together. Couldn't be any easier. This is probably the easiest no-sew pillow from Dollar Tree I think I've ever done. And I think it's going to hold up really well outside being made out of that material. And I like the colors on it too, just being plain black with like a 3D version of a skeleton torso on there. I normally put my life-size skeleton out front, but he's had a lot of damage over the years. I've had to reconstruct his elbow and stuff like that. I'm not sure if he's fit to put out this year, but if so, I think he might look cute sitting next to this great pillow. They also have one in the chair cover that is a jack-o'-lantern. So if you'd rather like the bright orange jack-o'-lantern face, you could totally do that with that one as well. But I was kind of going for a black and white color scheme mostly for today, except for a witch that I DIY. Isn't that so cute? I love it, and it's nice and large. Hey guys, have you visited my new website yet? It's craftybeach.net. You can pin my projects that I make here on YouTube on Pinterest so you can remember to go back and make them. Little outdated because of the hurricane, but I will get back to that, I swear. Okay, for the next DIY, we're going to be making a life-size witch. So this is the changes that I made. So again, I got a Dollar Tree laundry basket, and I just use a razor blade to cut a hole big enough for the broomstick, just to put the like a little screw part of the broomstick in there to make it more stable. I also picked up a Dollar Tree paper towel holder. And so this one, I'm experienced with how to make these stable. So this one I'm going to make correctly. So if you just make the skeleton one, use the advice from this one because I did have to go back and make some changes, right? So again, I'm going to start out with like my 4 corners here of my zip tying it to the laundry basket. As you can see, that paper towel holder just fits on there perfectly like it was made for this. And I do those 4 zip ties. Now this is the reinforcement. I find them to be a little front heavy depending on how I decorate them. And so I find that if I put a zip tie every single one, at least on the back, it's going to make it more stable. It's going to hold it closer to the laundry basket. Now, if you're not using a Dollar Tree laundry basket, if you're using a round laundry basket that is a little bit heavier, you might get a little bit heavier base. I didn't realize exactly how lightweight these are. They are pretty lightweight. So anything you can do to make it more stable, but it provides a great height to make these life size. And this skeleton, I think, is even taller than me. So again, I picked up another Dollar Tree, a broomstick, just a plain one. I'm going to pop the broomstick down into it. See, I just put the screw part down inside. And it's also really important to have your paper towel holder on the front like this. See, I have all the zip ties on the back, and then I have the paper towel holder on the front. So it's keeping it from tipping over towards the front. And I just attached that with 3 pieces of duct tape. So this is what it looks like so far, our life-size witch DIY. Now, again, we need to make the shoulders, the arms. I'm going to use another Dollar Tree ruler and another Dollar Tree foam noodle. I do make the arms a tiny bit different this time because I don't have any witch hands. So you're not going to be able to see it underneath of her witch's cloak. So I just kind of wedge it in there like that. So they will lean down a little bit more than the skeleton that's trying to grab you. They do still stick out a lot though. And then that's going to be the shoulder. And I just left it in there with friction. No duct tape this time for the shoulders and the arms for my witch. But basically that's all there is to it. Except for the fact we're going to be using like a milk jug for the witch head. So this is going to get in the way when I go to put it on my broomstick. So I'm trying to find a way just to pop it off. I found the best way to do it was just a pair of pliers and just break the plastic. Now I can go in and attach it. So as you can see, I make it go over. So the hanger is on the front. The fun noodle goes around the back. And then I just use 1 piece of duct tape to attach that to my broomstick, kind of lining it up with a sticker on the broomstick again, like that. So I have plenty of room for the milk jug that we're going to use for the witch's head. For the cloak, I'm also using a Dollar Tree black plastic tablecloth, just one. And I'm going to use it lengthwise towards the front and the back to make it long enough. And then just have the shorter parts of the rectangular tablecloth be for the sleeves for the cloak. So this is what our witch looks like so far. So very similar construction to the skeleton reaper that I did. Again, I take duct tape and about 4 times down each side, I just taped it so it is closed on the side. A quick little no-sew cloak. I'm going to use 2 of the Dollar Tree creepy cloths in black to make it look better. I think you could also use, I've seen people use like weed block and stuff like that too. If you can find that at Dollar Tree, it looks kind of creepy too. But I'm a big fan of the creepy cloth. So I find the halfway point and then the very center, and I just find that, put it over the broomstick. It's open like this, so you don't have to cut a hole or anything like that. Drape that over the sleeves of our witch for our witch's cloak. And we're also going to have a cape for our little witch too that I found at the Dollar Tree. Now for this one, I want it to be longer in front. I want it to go all the way to the ground for my second creepy cloth. So I kind of measure that. And then about halfway here, I just put it on, draping the rest of it along the back. And it looks really creepy. It just takes that cheap Dollar Tree plastic tablecloth and makes it look a little bit better. So this is what it looks like so far. And I'm a little creeped out because I swear I just saw orbs on that video, and I'm doing Halloween decor and seeing ghost orbs. Not cool, man. Not cool. For the cape, I found this at the Dollar Tree. It was in with the costumes, like the witches' hats and stuff. So I picked up a witch's hat. I also picked up a witch's cape. It's child size, so it's not real big, but I think it's going to work. I just put it here along the back of our witch's cloak and simply tie it on the front. It's just going to provide a little bit more texture. It's made out of a satiny material, so it makes it look a little bit, improves the look of the tablecloth a little bit better too. And then this is what I'm going to use. Nobody drinks cow milk in my house, so I had to use my tea container, but it's just a gallon container like for milk. And I'm going to paint it with some of the Dollar Tree glow-in-the-dark green paint. I just have to simply remove the labels from my milk jug or my tea jug. I found that the best way was to soak it. I tried using a little Goo Gone, but the stickers were on there pretty well. And, you know, the milk jug material is pretty thin, so I didn't want to damage it in any way. So I did take it to the sink and run it under hot water, and I was able to get my labels off pretty well. And we're going to simply paint this green to make a witch's head. I've seen lots of witch head milk jugs that like people hang from trees and stuff at Halloween. So I thought I could make a life-size witch with a milk jug. So this is the paint. It's a little bit bright green that I would like for a witch's face. But since it glows in the dark and it actually works, I think that I will just leave it this color. I just take a stencil dauber because I want it to look like just even coverage all over. It kind of gives me like a just, you know, sponge finish. And even though I don't have to go over the entire milk jug, I do just for completeness sake. I'm going to be adding witch hair, and a witch's hat to this DIY to make her even more fun. And I even went online, tried to see how other people had done their witches' faces because I kind of suck at freehanding stuff like that. But if I have a guide to go with, like the face that somebody else has made, I can do it really easily with paint pens. So it's going to be upside down. So the top of the milk jug is going to be the neck of the witch, and the handle is going to be the nose of the witch. So that part with the handle is going to have to be the best part painted. I did know that there was a sell-by date on there, though, so I take some fingernail polish remover, and that comes off really easily because that was going to be impossible to paint over with just one coat of paint. I'm also going to go ahead and take the little plastic ring off of the milk jug because I don't need that. It's going to get in the way, especially with painting it, so just trying to cut that off. And again, just going to paint everything with that green paint. I wasn't sure, since I did such a thin coat, if it would glow in the dark because I've never used a glow in the dark paint before, but I was so impressed that it did. So again, this part's going to be the face where I paint the eyes. There's going to be the nose. We're going to do a mouth, and you don't have to do a mouth. You can just do eyes if you'd like, but I wanted to do a funny expression on my witch to make this DIY project really whimsical. So just trying to make sure everything is covered, and again, that the face part is really covered. It was a little tricky to try to paint like on the sides and the inside of the nose, but I wanted to kind of just get everything that green color. And, you know, I don't actually mind this color for a witch's face. I think it's really kind of cute. In my last Halloween DIY video, I did a lot of black, white, and green Halloween projects for Halloween, and I think they turned out really cool. So for the face, I use a black paint pen. I'm using the Posca paint pens. They're my favorite. You can get them on Amazon pretty cheap. I have them linked in my Amazon shop in the description of today's video. I highly recommend them. I'm going to do an arched eyebrow over here. Now, milk jugs are not symmetrical. See how one side's higher than the other? But that's going to be fun because it'll also add to her expression, right? I do another high arched eyebrow over here and just kind of doubling them up to make them a little bit thicker. And that's going to help make like her expression be kind of funny, right? Now the eye sockets are going to be a little different too because this side's a little bit lower, but that's just going to be where her eye stops. So I do like a little cheek mark there, going all the way up to where the milk jug kind of changes, and kind of do like a little square there almost. I do want it to be rounded, but you're kind of limited with the size there. I just fill that in with my paint pen, give her a little wrinkle line because she's an old witch, and then arch it a tiny bit, but you're not able to do it much without going up on the side of your milk jug. On this side, I want it to be the same height, so I start the same place, do a cheek mark, like a little rectangle for the eye. I could go higher on this one, and a little wrinkle mark on this side as well. Just making sure they're about the same width, and they both have like a little bit of an arched top. Those eyes look pretty good. For the mouth, I want her to have a silly smile, so I have it come out one side, a little grin. I'm going to give her an old witch's tooth, a snaggle tooth over here. This side, I'm going to go a little curvier, so I kind of do the side and then fill it in like that. Let's give her a wart on her nose because she is a creepy witch, right? So I just do like a little black circle. And then I thought it'd be fun to also maybe do a little wart here on her little witchy chin, just for fun. Now I do need to add a few more details, which I'm going to do with white. Going over white with black, a little tricky. I had to do a couple of coats. But I'm going to do like a little eye shine mark here in her eye, just to give a little character. I think that always helps when you like paint a face. And I have to go over it a couple of times again to cover that black finish. And I probably should have dried it a little bit better because I was getting my paint bed a little gray. And then I'm also going to fill in her tooth. I found this witch design online. I can't remember the blog's name. I think I still have it open on my browser. If I find it, I will put a link to her blog down in the description of today's video because I used her little witch face design as a template and it was really easy to do. So that worked well. For her hair, I wanted her to have something gray. The only kind of gray hair I could find for her at Dollar Tree was the microfiber moped. It is gray and white, and it's like this kind of braided pattern, which isn't exactly what I wanted, but I really want her to have gray hair because I always like my witches to have gray hair. I don't know why. I think it's because I used to dress up as a witch when I was a child, and my mom had the most hideous gray wig that we would always wear, and we'd always win all of the like Halloween costume contests because the witch costume was so great because of the gray hair. As you can see, it's looped though, so I'm just finding which ones are looped and cutting them close to the base. I want to leave it attached as a mop head. That's going to make it easier. She's going to be wearing a witch's hat, so you won't be able to see that. But I want her hair to be longer and it look more like hair. So it's important to cut every single one of the loops. I just do like 3 or 4 at a time. I'm trying to make sure that I don't miss any of the loops and I cut them all. Really easy hair. I've never used this microfiber moped to craft before. So this was a first. I'm going to put it on top of the milk jug, or I guess the bottom of the milk jug like that, and have it be her witch's hair. And I think there's going to be just the right amount of hair, and I like the fact that it's a little bit long. It can stick out from her witch's hat. Now, the Dollar Tree only has children's witch's hats with their costumes, and I don't like the fact that it's a little bit smaller than I need, and it is sheer on the brim of the hat. So I'm going to modify it slightly to make it a little bit more like what I want. I can't make it bigger, but I can line it. So to line it, I just picked up a black satin pillowcase from Dollar Tree. Honestly, you could use whatever you have. You could use felt, black fabric, whatever. But if you want a more solid black witch's hat like I do, then you're going to need to line this one. I couldn't find any that didn't have the lining. They have this one, and they also have like a purple version of this. I don't mind the spider webs and spiders. I think those are cute. But I'm just going to cut out a square of that black satin pillowcase. That's going to be big enough to line my witch's hat. I'm not going to bother ironing it or anything. I don't think it really matters. I just make sure that my hat is not in the way by kind of tucking it in like that. and putting it on here. I think I want the shiny side here in case you can see that part. And I'm going to simply attach it with hot glue around the inner and outer edges of the brim. I thought this would still be easier than DIYing my own witch's hat just by modifying it. So around the inside of the hat, I just do a bead of hot glue halfway around and glue the fabric to that. And if the wrinkles bother you, you can totally iron that part out. They ended up not being an issue in the end. So I'm glad I didn't really waste my time with it. And I just do the same thing on the other side, just gluing it there to the brim. Now I do need it to fit on her hat though, so I still need the hat to be open, right? So then once I get that dry, I just go in with a pair of scissors and I cut out the circle of fabric here in the middle so I can still put it on her witch's head. Because again, it's a little bit smaller than what I need, but if I have the opening, I can make it work. Now for the outer rim, I'm going to do the same thing. There is like a wire here covered by fabric. I just put hot glue on that. So you won't be able to see any of that come through the mesh, and just kind of hot glue like 1/3 of a section at a time. And that looks so much better. I wish that this part of the hat was black like the top of the hat, and then I wouldn't have to do this extra step. But 1/3 at a time, I just hot glue that. And again, no sew, definitely, on any of my craft projects. I'm going to go in with my scissors and just cut that as close as I can to the fabric so that you won't be able to see any fraying or anything like that. Because, you know, it's just fabric. It's going to fray if you cut it. But I think I can cut it close enough here to the hot glue to keep it sealed, to keep from fraying. And I just carefully go around cutting that just as close as I can, trying to cut it a little bit smaller than the brim of the hat so that you can't see it from the top. And an important step, just lining that just so I have a black witch's hat. Now it is definitely more of what I was going for. I do want it to stand up, so I take a little polyfill here from an old pillow, just pop that in there just to make sure that it stands up nice and pointy. And now we can go ahead and put this on our witch's head. I have her hair just kind of sitting here on top of the witch head, trying to figure out exactly where I want it. And then I can put it on her just like that. Pretty cool. It is a little bit of a tight fit, so I am going to use some hot glue just to make sure everything stays in place. So I do some hot glue right here on the front and kind of glue that to the corner of the milk carton here. This was the part that I had a little bit hard time getting that part to stick, especially just moving it around and trying to glue the other side. So let me try that again, gluing that here on the front. And then I glue it like 2 other times around the brim of the hat just to make sure it stays on because it's a little bit small for her milk jug witch's head. These projects were so much fun. Big impact Halloween DIYs that are going to be great for Halloween decor. Going to be great for my trick-or-treaters. Really inexpensive, using items from the Dollar Tree. And if you're having a Halloween party, these would be perfect. Now, one thing about if you have a Halloween party, you might want to weigh down the laundry basket a little bit with some books or something underneath the cloak just to make it a little bit sturdier if you have kids running around and stuff like that. I'm going to try it on. I wasn't sure what to do with this part to see if it was going to fit on there. As you can see, it's a little loose right now, so the head wants to jiggle around, but I think I've got a really easy fix to that. I'm just going to pop it off and add more duct tape. What I did was add like 1 piece of duct tape at a time here where her neck would be until it's thick enough where I can slide it on there and it will stand straight up. I didn't want to add too much though, so that's why I do it like 1 piece of duct tape at a time just to make sure that I don't get too much. I think I ended up using a total of 3 pieces of duct tape until it stood up straight. I'm going to arrange her little witchy locks. And then I'm going to use just a piece of black velvet ribbon. This is from the Halloween aisle. It can be anything black just to cover the milk jug, like screw top and the neck, kind of all the parts, make it look a little bit better. So I just cut a piece that's large enough to go around the witch's neck, use some hot glue to glue that to the back now that I have her all put together. And it finishes her off with a, fun little turtleneck maybe to go with her cloak. And this is how she turned out, our life-size witch, using a milk jug and supplies from the Dollar Tree. She is so cool. Here is a little bit of a more close-up view of her. I'm glad that I found the cape with the witch's costume. And again, the creepy cloth adds just so much more texture and creepy appeal the way that it hangs off of her cloak like this. But here's like a little bit more closer look of her face. I love the face that I painted on there. I think that's so cute. And her gray and white locks are really fun too. And if you didn't want to do hair, you could always do the black tablecloth and just cut it into strips too for her hair to make it a little bit more weatherproof if you're going to put yours outside. But here it is, our life-size witch. Now for the next DIY, I'm going to use one of the witch hat wreath forms and some of the Dollar Tree leather, which is on sale right now at Dollar Tree for 50 cents a box. Can you believe that? I picked up 2 of the black ones to cover the witch wreath form to make a black leather witch's hat. I'm just going to flip it over, and as you can see, it's the perfect size to cover the hat. I use a Sharpie and about like a 1/2 inch. I just draw a border so I can flap that around the hat to attach it. Simply cut that out. This faux leather from the Dollar Tree is so easy to craft with. When I found out it was 50 cents, I was like, I need to go back and buy more. And I do need to go back and buy more. I love crafting with it. And I don't know if that means they're getting rid of it at Dollar Tree. So if so, I definitely need to stock up because I love it. I'm going to use this not as a wreath, but as a wall hanging. So I'm going to show you how to make a really cool, large witch hat wall hanging that would be perfect for an impact piece for, Halloween decorating, or again, for a Halloween party. I just do a bead of hot glue on the wire wreath form. This is probably the easiest Halloween witch's hat wreath that I've ever done. No like wrapping it with string or anything like that. Just covering it all in one piece. So that's really cool. Once I get one side done, I'm going to do the same thing here on the other. Just kind of pulling it taut as I go, just doing one section at a time. And as you can see, it's super easy. I am going to do like a ribbon for the brim of the hat. So that will be a clean transition when I go from the brim of the hat to the top of the hat like this. So again, I needed 2 boxes of the black faux leather from Dollar Tree and one of the little witch hat wreath forms. I love these. I've made lots of witch hats with these. I've also done other things with these as well, made gnomes and really cool things. They're a really versatile wreath form. Just going to trim this up a little bit right here. I want to overlap with that wire, but not much. And then you have to kind of turn it on its side to get the leather to be long enough for this part. So kind of corner to corner like that. It's the perfect length. So again, I just flip it over. I'm going to do the same thing, about a 1/2 inch. I just go ahead and draw around that with a Sharpie so I can cut that down to size. That way I don't have too much excess fabric when I go to attach that. And just simply cut it out. As you can see, it cuts so easily. There's no fraying or anything like that. I've made surfboards with this stuff. I've made so many different things with this faux leather. I love it. They have it in ivory, navy, brown, and black, I believe. So just kind of lining that up. I'm going to start here at the base. It's going to overlap the leather on the main part of the hat slightly. And I'm going to go ahead and just glue that one section at a time. It glues really nicely too, even with hot glue. As you can see, it's not really melting or anything like that. And I'm using like super hot glue with this. And again, for this section, just kind of pulling it taut. I did cut a little groove there to make it lay flat there against where it overlaps with the top of the witch's hat, like right there. And then just hot glue that. I do have a little bit of excess material here at the ends that I can just simply trim off. And we have like a really cool black leather witch's hat going on here. I think it's looking really good. I do go ahead and glue this together just so it stays flat when I hang it against the wall. And then for the brim of the hat for the ribbon, I'm just using the black spider web ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I cut a piece long enough to overlap the back. It's the perfect width, I think, for this, and it's really subtle. I'm going to be hanging a Dollar Tree sign on this as well, and so this is going to provide a nice subtle backdrop to that. I just attach it to the back with hot glue, pulling it taut like that. And this witch's hat is really coming together. I do need to make it a hanger for it. I didn't attach that before. I'm just going to do it here on this first wire that goes across the wire wreath form. I just take some twine and simply tie a knot there where you won't be able to see it, and a functional hanger. Now, this is what I'm going to use to decorate it. The Wicked sign from Dollar Tree. So this is one of their wood signs. I'm going to save the hanger for this because I'm going to hang that on the witch's hat. And I love how this looks. Since it's such a big wall hanging, the witch's hat, I needed a big sign to decorate it with. I'm going to stain mine with some antique wax by Waverly. I don't want too much though. So as you can see, I'm just doing a very sparse coat all over with my foam brush. And then I immediately go over that with a wet baby wipe. So I kind of get a medium finish, but it brings out the wood grain in the project. Then I can just go ahead and reattach the hanger. And I'm going to simply just hang this back on my witch's hat. So easy to do. Such a fun, large piece to decorate for Halloween, and really pretty as well, I think. If you wanted to paint your Wicked sign, you totally could. Any color that you're using for your decor. I consider doing white or green, but I'm glad that I stained it because I love the Dollar Tree wood when it's stained like that. I think it makes it look more high end. And it's so simple just to drape that over. The hanger was the perfect length to just hang it there on the front of our witch's hat. And it looks great there next to my DIY witch's broomsticks that I have done here on my channel. Hey guys, I would love to see your DIYs. Be sure to join our private Facebook group. It's linked in the description, and you can share your DIYs with us as well. I would love to see them. You guys are so creative. Okay, for the next DIY, I'm going to make a large wall hanging with a Dollar Tree skull and crossbones placemat and 3 of the Dollar Tree wood wall shelves. Again, I'm doing large pieces, large Halloween DIYs for a party or for home decor. And so I want everything to be large. The placemat is very large, so I'm going to need 3 of the wood shelves to make the background for it. I want to do a slatted wood board sign with this if I can, so it's going to be a little bit challenging to do that, but I love how it turned out. As you can see, the wood grain varies greatly on these, but that's okay. I kind of like the variety. I take some ivory acrylic paint and mix it together with some antique wax by Waverly. I want almost like a light driftwood feel for the background on this one, something very subtle. So just going to go over all 3 of my signs. As you can see, they're all like not attached yet because I'm going to do like a slatted sign where they're all going to be like hanging from each other and displaying that skull and crossbones, and we're going to even make this one into a pirate. I thought that would be fun. And it would go for Halloween, also go with my coastal Halloween a little bit too, right? That looks pretty good. I'm going to add a little bit more antique wax by Waverly to make it a little bit darker and just distress it ever so slightly to give that wood grain effect to it. I think those look pretty good, and I think that's going to be a great background. If you wanted a more warm color, you could totally stain it. You could paint the background of yours. I picked up this silver metallic skull and crossbones, but I actually want it to be black. But that's easy enough. All I got to do is flip it over, and the back of the placemat is black, as you can see. And I think it is going to fit perfectly on the 3 wood shelves together like this. Now I'm going to do one slat at a time. So I take some hot glue and I glue the skull down just around the border, just with some hot glue on the first slatted sign. The reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to need to cut it so that I have 3 pieces of the skull and crossbones to go on all 3 signs. So I'm just trying to carefully cut this. The plastic placemat cuts easily, and I did cut it a little bit long. I was trying not to cut out any of the design, but nothing crazy. I was able to trim that up, but you just have to kind of be careful how you line these up a little bit when you're cutting them. It can be a little bit tricky, right? I'm going to go ahead and hot glue this one down. This has got like lots of different places, so kind of doing like one section here at a time. Part of the bone is going to fit on this one. And then I'm just doing it on the outer sections with the hot glue so that you can't see any of that because of that open pattern. You're going to be able to see the board through. I don't want you to be able to see any hot glue. And then again, I cut off the third portion of the skull and crossbones like that. So that's going to be the middle section with the eyes and part of the nose. And then this one's going to be like the mouth and the bones here for the bottom section. I love putting these wood shelf signs together, either the skinnier ones or the wider ones like this, to do signs that hang. I just think it's so fun. And again, I'm just going around the border and gluing that down. You'll also have to kind of glue it a little bit here and there on the top and bottom to make sure it stays put. I noticed that I cut this one a little shorter than I would like, and you can see some of the wood going through. I'm going to try to disguise that with a little black Sharpie. Just the middle section, I could have cut a little bit better, and I don't want it to be super obvious, so the Sharpie is a great way to hide that. It was a little bit hard to see it, though. It kind of went in with the paint a little bit, so I did touch it up a tiny bit with a black paint pen, too. And now I don't think you can really tell that any of the design is missing. Now it's a matter of putting it together. These are the strings, the white like macrame cord that comes with these shelves. And I'm going to use it to attach. I was trying to determine how to put it together, if I wanted like the knots to be on the front or the back. I decided to do the knots on the front because I think it looks a little bit better that way. They are kind of hard to thread through there. So I do like to put a little hot glue on the end to make sure that it's strong enough to go through. But again, I kind of had to force it through a little bit, probably because I was going through the placemat too. But just knot that on the front, and then I'm going to connect it to the middle section. Now, making it this way did add more time to the project. It did take me longer to make it than if I would have just glued the 3 signs together. So if you're a little shorter on time, you could do that. Just put a bead of hot glue on the inside lip of each one of those shelves, glue them all together, and then you would only have to string the top part. As you can do, I'm just doing one section at a time. So I attach the middle section to the bottom section, and then I'm going to attach this section to the top section. So I'm just kind of cutting the cord as I go. I'm going to need a couple of those cords that it came with to be able to make it all the way around and to include the hanger for this. Sometimes I noticed that like my skull came up a little bit when I was trying to force that string through there. So that made it a little bit challenging too. I have a little bit of a space between each board. So when it'll hang, it will hang like a slatted sign. And then for this piece, I'm going to just knot it here on top. This is going to be the hanger for our little skeleton pirate. He's not a pirate yet, but he's going to be. And I just make it however long I want my hanger to be, knotting that one on the front. And then I have to go ahead and do the same thing here on the other side, stringing it together. So again, definitely more work if you're going to do like the accordion like slatted sign like this where it kind of dangles, but it actually looks really cool in the end. So I think it is worth the extra effort. This would be a great sign for your entryway or for a party. You could even hang this one outdoors. Since it's made out of that like vinyl placemat material, I think it should be rather weatherproof. As long as your glue holds up. If you are going to use it outdoors, you might want to use a stronger glue like an E6000 or something like that versus hot glue if your area is still hot like mine is. And I just simply string that, my last piece for putting it together. Now, one thing I don't like, though, is having those 2 holes in the bottom be empty. So I did go ahead and string that and knot it. And I'm just going to have that go to the other side, kind of hidden behind it, so that all of the holes on the shelves are filled with knots, just to make it look more finished. So this is what our little skull is looking like so far. Pretty cool, right? And then I'm going to use some of that Dollar Tree faux black leather to make an eye patch. So I'm simply using the eye as reference to sketch out an eye patch. Super easy shape to do. And to estimate there with the size of the eye. I want it to be larger than the eye, but only slightly. And then just cutting out my eye patch. I thought this would be a fun way to give it a little pirate appeal. You could leave it just a skull and crossbones if you like that, but of course I wanted to add just a few more details to make it more fun. I attached the faux leather with some hot glue and just glue that right on to the placemat. Since it's the back of the placemat instead of the front, instead of it being shiny, it's kind of a matte finish, which goes well with that matte faux leather look and goes well with my decor. I didn't want it to be shiny, and so that helps as well. I also used that scrap piece of black faux leather to do the straps. So I'm going to have this one go up over the eye, just kind of attaching that with hot glue. That's going to be the patch strap to go around the skeleton skull, like that. And I've done a lot of like pirate DIYs for Halloween on my channel. Lots of fun ideas. It definitely goes well for like a coastal vibe for Halloween if you make your skulls into a pirate. I did the same thing here on the other side with a much smaller strip. And that is it. This piece is really large. It's really cool. Let me show you how it looks hanging up. As you can see, there's like a little gap in between each one of the wood signs to give it that slatted feel. But I think it turned out really cool, and it was a fun way to DIY with one of these placemats from the Dollar Tree. I always like to try to include them in DIYs because I think they can be really fun, and they're usually really easy to find at Dollar Tree. So fun. I really hope you enjoyed today's 6 new Halloween DIYs. Be sure to let me know which one is your favorite down in the comments below. I always love reading your comments. And you can find me on all social media at Crafty Beach on YouTube. And I also have a second YouTube channel I always forget to tell you guys about, Crafty Little Beach, for just my clips of short DIY projects. Enjoy the final reveal and happy Halloween.
I was told it was urgent, come see me tonight. In the circle we're flirting and we dance for hours. She knew that she had me, but I didn't realize I'm sleeping with a vampire. Got lost in the city when we drove through the night. Stopped by in an alley and she kissed me wild. She knew that she had me, but I didn't see it now. I'm sleeping with a vampire. When morning is come, she's always gone. She will call me when she's run out of young blood, of young blood. She hates to see me falling. That's why she leaves at sunrise, just when morning has come. She's always gone. I'm sleeping with a vampire. She knew I was waiting through months and pain. The one day she texted me at 12 a.m. I knew that she had me, and I started to see that I've been hooked up by a vampire. She said I'm sorry, I left you behind. And I know it sounds funny that it was enough. Checked in at a hotel and I already knew this time I'm sleeping with a vampire. When morning has come, she's always gone. She will call me when she's run out of young blood, of young blood. She hates to see me falling. That's why she leaves at sunrise, just when morning has come. She's always gone, but she will call me when she's out of blood. When morning has come, she's always gone. Call me when she's out of blood.
Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of today's video. I would also like to give a special shout out to all my Crafty Beach Bum members for supporting me here on YouTube. Thank you to Karen O'Haron, Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Susan Edmonds, Tracy Knight, Nancy Wunner, Janae Farrington, Pamelia Wren, Donna Schreiner, Live Another Day, Maren Christensen, Debbie Middleton, Adrienne Brolt, Red Mama, Tammy Muir, and Donna Tanner. Thank you so much for your support. And also thank you to all of you that have reached out to me after Hurricane Milton. My home just missed an EF3 tornado. It missed us by 2 blocks. So my neighborhood and my town is pretty much destroyed at this point. So getting new videos out to you is very hard right now. So if you would like to support me, just go to my channel and find a video that you haven't seen and watch it. That would help so much. This is my full-time job. And so I am struggling a little bit with that. I also want to give my thoughts and prayers to all the victims and people affected by Hurricane Milton. It was a terrible tragedy. Also to Hurricane Helene, that was absolutely horrific as well. You'll be able to find 2 different Halloween DIY videos right here if you'd like to watch one of those. And until next time, happy crafting.